Most people quit because they never stop long enough to see how far they've come. They're focused too much on the mountain ahead. You forget to turn around and look at the beauty on the journey that you're on. And sometimes progress feels smaller in the moment than it does looking back on all of the successes on your journey. So hang with me and let's take a moment to celebrate your climb. Welcome back to Undivided. I'm your host, Adam Maxwell, where we talk about rebuilding your life through faith, discipline, and adventure. Today, I want to talk about celebrating our victories. Celebrating your victories is a big part of making sure that you're making progress. Looking back on where you started, where you are today, and the growth that kept you motivated in the meantime, and why celebrating really matters. Now, I'm not sitting here telling you that you need to celebrate by going out and getting wasted or celebrate by having this big party or anything like that. Sometimes a celebration is internal. Sometimes a celebration is just for you because this is your journey. And nobody's going to care as much as you do because it's your life. And I think it's important that you make sure that you look back on it. It's why all the journaling is important. It's why the steps that we've gone through to get to this point are important. So if you've been doing the work, like if you've been the guy out there doing the work since we've started this, then this episode is 100% for you. If you haven't been doing the work, I'm not saying the episode isn't for you, but you have work to do before celebration is part of it. All I can ever think of is the Cloudy with the Chance of Meatballs, the stupid little monkey, whatever his name is. He hits the button, celebrate. I know I'm a nerd, but that's who I am, and that's who I'm always going to be. But celebration is a big part of the key, right? Everybody you've ever seen that have accomplished their goals in life, famous people, athletes, they go out and they win the World Series, they win the Super Bowl, they win the NBA championship, and they celebrate. They celebrate that day. But then they're back to work, man, like the next day. They stay committed. They stay committed to their journey. They stay committed to their adventure, and they stay committed to themselves. Because if you're out there trying to make a difference in your life and you're trying to change your future, you can never stop. There's not a single destination, right? That's the problem is people are like, I'm going to get to this point and bam, I'm done. It's like the fallacy of retirement that everybody has been so focused on. A lot of people that I know that are older, they just can't wait for that retirement. Oh, I'm 65, bam, I'm done. I'm not doing nothing else. Well, that sounds like an absolute nightmare to me, but that's my personal opinion. And somebody would tell me to shut my mouth. I'm pretty sure if and they can have their opinion on it too, but to just set your life and your goals to a singular destination is the day that you begin to fail, or the day you begin to fall apart, or the day you begin to die. And I refuse to do that, and you should too. So celebration is key. Looking back on your journey is key. Looking back on who you are, who you were, and what you're headed for is just the absolute epitome of what we're after here. It's part of why I ask you to do the journaling. It's part of the reason we have the questions that we ask ourselves each day. I've been working on it ever since last week. The 5 questions that I've told you about. And if you're not sure what I'm talking about, go to episode 9, the journaling episode, listen through, and you'll find them in there, and they work. I've been doing it for myself, and it gives you that moment, that clarity. And one thing I've added to that is I've added make up a quote for the day, right? Make up a quote. You make the quote up, whatever it may be, whether it sucks, whether it's profound, whether it's whatever, but you can go back each day and you can look at those quotes. Make the quote make sense to the day, and you can see where you've succeeded. You can see where you've failed. and all the rest. So, like I say, like the celebration factor of it is important, but again, you celebrate, you look at your victory, you can be proud of yourself for that victory, but then the next day you're right back at it. You're trying to improve, you're trying to get to that championship of life again. Get to that next pinnacle and then have another one after that and another one after that. Whatever it looks like, because our life is built on seasons. Our life is built on different outcomes as you age, as you get older, as you gain wisdom, and all the rest. Um, and, I just want to kind of look at too why most people never feel successful in the first place. Like, what is keeping you from feeling like you have succeeded? And oftentimes it is how the goalposts in life are constantly moving, right? Goalposts in life are constantly moving. One minute you might be looking at trying to make yourself better for your career. The next moment you're looking at making yourself better or, improving your life because you're going to have a child. And then the next thing is your child's graduating. And the next thing is your child is, having their own family and becoming a grandparent and looking forward to retirement and looking forward to retiring to something else. So the goalpost is always changing in life, but that's the beauty of life. It keeps it spicy, right? It keeps you on your toes and it keeps you in the realm that, like, you're always going to have something fresh and something new to look forward to. But goalposts oftentimes, and most of the time, we do it to ourselves. But you have to have those goalposts set to get to a certain point in your life, certain championship, right? So try not to make the goalpost move before you get there, and then have it set up where you're challenging yourself to the next big thing. We also sit there and we continually try to compare ourselves to other people, other people's lives. Well, it's not your own. Everybody goes through different things. Everybody has their own struggles, and you can only compare yourself to your own. You can't sit there and compare yourself to somebody else. Otherwise, I don't know, you're not going to know how to even feel about it because it's not your life. Everybody says, oh, life could be worse. Well, it absolutely could be, but is it? Yeah, you could lose your arm, but did you? Or somebody that did. How are they doing? You know what I mean? Like, we have troubles come through our lives, and all that does is gives us a new challenge to take on the world. We can't let it completely consume us and ruin us. Otherwise, it's no good for everybody around you that looks up to you. We also like to look at it as though we're striving for some kind of a perfect outcome as well. Like, perfection is not attainable. And all we need in life to succeed is to see and feel progress. So if you're tracking the things that you're doing and you're looking at, you're actually doing your journaling and you're actually looking back on it and you're actually reading some of your previous, as your week ends, right? You get to the end of your week, your end of your season, go back and read what you did and how you accomplished and where you failed and how you can do better and the quotes of your day. You have to go back and you have to read it, and you gotta celebrate where you did do well, right? Because we know we're gonna fail. That's a fact. Failure is the key to success. Again, I've talked about in earlier episodes, having to hit rock bottom is not necessary to find success. Some people it is. And I mean, I'm wrong sometimes too, even here as I'm sitting here. Somebody might be like, yeah, right. Well, you need to totally hit rock bottom sometimes. Yeah, you do. Some people do have to hit rock bottom. But I can tell you for sure that you don't need to hit rock bottom to get there. It's not a necessity. Failing is a necessity. You have to fail to get better at something. You get a bad grade and you have to do better. You have to study harder to get there. But that's up to you to figure out what your progress looks like. And it doesn't help either that we sit here and our brains are every day being scrambled by social media. And, here we are. I'm having to be a part of the social media experiment, but I'm trying to put out some content that isn't here to scramble your brain. It's here for you to question yourself and to find the successful version of yourself. There's just a ton of content out right now that I'm tired of seeing, and I'm sure that all of you are tired of seeing too, where everybody's just pushing the boundaries. They're saying things, They're rage baiting. They're trying to get people pitted against each other. All they want are the comments and the views. And sure, if that's how you want to make your money in life, or that's how you want to live your life, then so be it. I refuse to do it. And riding the coattails of others, and that's part of life. I mean, everybody's done it for the longest, since the existence of time, where you utilize other people around you that are profound, and that have built up this voice, to help people. Sometimes you can lean into them and lean into their work and their progress to help you get yours. But social media in itself has just become so addictive and repetitive that it just hurts you. It hurts your brain. It makes you think that things that aren't true. It makes you think that there's another life out there that you could gain. And half the time, the people that are on there trying to pretend a thing are just so miserable that they can't even explain it to you. I just want you to find your way through life and not be miserable in the process. But when we're out there living our lives, we're trying to attain perfection, and we forget to kind of look back on what we have accomplished, right? Like, say you're trying to lose weight. I lost weight. My wife and we decided to go on a diet, change our intake of food, and work really hard because we were just beyond where we wanted to be. We weren't feeling good about our size, and our clothes were fitting too tightly. But it's so easy that you get into working out and you lose 10, 15, 20 pounds. And instead of looking back at, how much you've progressed in that time, because it takes a while if you're doing it through exercise and diet to lose the weight, but you're always focusing forward on that perfect thing that you want, that the next 10, 15, or 20 pounds. And in those cases, when you're doing that, when you never stop long enough to look back to see where you were to where you are today, you lose sight on how far you've truly come. And that breeds failure, because you're like, oh, I'm just not where I want to be. You're focused on that next 20 pounds, and you need to be, right? Like, you need to still have the goal ahead of you, but you still have to stop for a moment and look back and see where you've come from. Just like journaling daily, you could take a photo of yourself each day on your weight loss journey, and you can easily look back and see how far you've come. Or like paying off debt. When I was 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, I was so financially stupid. I had no idea. None of us were taught that stuff in high school. You know what I mean? Here, learn algebra and geometry and all these other math type things, but don't learn how to manage your finances. Great idea, guys. But I was terrible with my finances, illiterate completely. I took out a loan for nothing. When I turned 18, I put a lien on my truck to get this loan for nothing. Because rite of passage type stuff, like, oh, when I turn 18, I'm going to buy a pack of smokes and go get a loan or whatever. You know what I mean? It was just stupid. I don't even know what I was thinking, but I did it anyway. And I was financially inept. I didn't take care of my bills. I didn't take care of any of my stuff, and my credit went to hell. And once it finally got to a point where I was like, holy crap, I need to get this pulled back together, the mountain that was ahead of me was huge. And it took years and years and years of commitment to getting this debt paid off in order to even start to have a credit score that I could be even, minutely proud of. Because you could pay off half of your debt, whether it's 20 grand or 100 grand or 5 grand, you could pay off that first half of it, but all you're focusing on is what is ahead of you, that mountain of debt that's ahead of you, instead of looking back on how far you've come, because it takes time. You can destroy your credit in a day, but it takes years to fix it. And that's life across the board with so many other things. It's just a simple way to put it into layman's terms. Because the discipline that you've built, sometimes you can only notice it through your failures, or you only notice your failures even with the discipline you've built. That's what I meant to say. Like, you've built this discipline, You've been working your butt off for months or years or weeks or days or hours, whatever it may be, because I tell you what, those first few hours of change in life, those first few days are probably the hardest, whatever it may be, whether, it's an addiction to nicotine, alcohol, addiction to pornography, addiction to um, whatever it is, food. That beginning, that first few hours, the first few days feels like years sometimes, but you got to be proud of that discipline, right? Like if you've gone an hour, you can go 2, you can go 4, you can go 8, you can go 16, you double that up. And before you know it, you got to look at this discipline and you got to be like, yes, I hit that one day without alcohol, one day without nicotine, 1 week, 1 month. I mean, it's like Alcoholics Anonymous, right? They get their coins to show themselves where they've come, where they've gotten to, and where they've been in the struggle. So don't forget about the discipline that you've built, right? Don't only focus on the failures. You need to look at those because it's important, because failure is where you get ahead. And the thing is too, it's hard to do this all alone. It's nice to have a partner in crime, right? And have somebody there with you. And I was blessed enough to find mine, but it's so easy to have the perfect person in front of you. Having a wonderful woman or a wonderful man in front of you, but it's easy to lose sight of that because of the social media aspect of thing, or seeing the baddies online that you're like, dang, I want that. But you have the perfect human being for you sitting right in front of you. Not to say they're not a baddie, but maybe they're a baddie in a different way. So you got to look at the great things that you do have in front of you at the moment, and strive for tomorrow, but live for today. Um, the part about it that I have a trouble with is, like most people never get to truly enjoy their success or enjoy their progress because they're so obsessed with the perfection in the world, or the perfection that they're trying to attain. And again, it's exactly the reason why people fail and they never get back up, because they just feel consumed or overwhelmed with having to get to that place immediately. But patience is everything. Um, and looking back again is the key to taking notice at your wins. Here I sit, episode 10, right? I didn't even know I would ever get here, and I'm not done. And trust me, this last week was hard on me. I'm currently recording the day of I'm supposed to be releasing my episode. I usually get it done a week ahead at least, and have it ready and scheduled to go or whatever. I try not to do it too far ahead of time, because if there's something that comes along that I'd like to get in there. But I had a hard time this last week. I questioned myself. The devil was putting his thoughts in my head and was trying to keep me from getting to where I wanted to be. Questioning if I'm doing the right thing, but I know that I am, because it feels good to me in my soul. And it's where I'm supposed to be. I'm supposed to be with you guys. And I'm working on trying to figure out how to not make this thing so heavy duty all the time, and have fun with it, a little bit more fun with it anyways. But I'm going to run a clip of, each episode for you real quick.
Am I ready? Am I ready for this? Am I ready for change? We're talking about drifting, the act of doing nothing. It's not when you've reached the top or even when you slam to rock bottom that defines you. Today I want to talk about the child that you never left behind and what that's. Today we're going to be getting back into the child you left behind. I did not know I was going to do a part 2, but I realized there's some stuff that I missed, so we're going to jump back in. Little do you know, trying to change it all gets you absolutely nowhere. Your future isn't being the perfect man, right? It's finding the man that is willing to grow. Did you know that growth only begins when you stop letting your excuses work? Today we're going to be talking about unleashing the power of your own words through journaling.
Because I think it's super important. This is important. It's important to look back, right? Episode 1, I felt like a total numbskull. Episode 2, I got a little more confident. I dug in a little deeper, and I started reading more, and I started, trying to become more of a professional at this thing, and not beat myself up too much about it and just let her ride. But looking back on my life, my story isn't exactly a rags to riches experience, but it's not that far off. My childhood was fine. It was okay until a point, and then it all fell apart. And I, had a different house every year, and just constant, just kind of a broken home situation and living in the trailer park and not really caring what happened day to day, but finding a way to succeed anyways, right? Like going to jail multiple times, it hurt, and it could have been the end of me, and I don't know why it wasn't. Um, and after I didn't give a rat's ass, I didn't really care about mm, life after being in jail and having the worst credit score you could ever imagine having, other than zero, which is maybe worse. I'm not sure. But then I was into, drugs, sex, and hip hop. You say rock and roll, but I grew up with Eminem in my ears, right? And 3 6 Mafia, and uh, Jay Z and Lil Wayne and all these hip hop artists. That was my digs. If you listen to any of my shorts and stuff, I have hip hop inspired instrumentals. That was my thing. And, you know, creating a family and losing that and going to college and not using the degree and having to pay off student debt, like as soon as I would like climb this mountain, something would come along and kick me off, and I would fall back to the bottom of the valley, and I'd have to build myself up again. And it just, I had these seasons in life where I would build and then it would be torn down. And I always wondered why, or what am I doing wrong, or what is causing this to be this way. And, you know, losing, like I say, having my family with my older boy and his mom, and I was like, yeah, here we go, I'm gonna get married, and I almost got married, and then that didn't work out, and losing that family, and building up a restaurant and a business with my buddies, and losing that, and having just a bike and a roof at one point in time, riding my bicycle every day to build me up. And I had like the biggest thighs ever. You could have called me Quadzilla for real. I couldn't even fit in my jeans anymore at the time because they didn't have the stretchy jeans that they have nowadays, whether you wear those or not. Most people do. Um, so I just keep having this a continual thing, uh, riding a bicycle and building my life back up and getting the woman back and having to move in with a friend and basically being homeless, paying rent in a room, right? Like it wasn't my house, wasn't my apartment. Um, Finding a woman that believed in me, and having her and losing her, and just ups and downs and ups and downs and ups and downs. And I'm like, what the heck is going on here? And fighting for my family to the end, and having people come into my life and try to influence me into doing drugs again, and dealing drugs, and all these things, and fighting back and not taking the bait, and building my construction business that broke my back. Um, and then having to have spine surgery and having to recover, and gaining my weight back that I lost after working my butt off, and trying to build a new adventure on top of it. And now it's time. I've climbed and I've fallen, and I've climbed and I've fallen, and I just look around and I'm like, now I see it. God was working with me the whole time. He allowed me to build myself up and take it all away so that I'd have to do it again and again, so that I could fail to succeed and know that nothing can stop me. And that's where you got to realize that you're going to fail over and over again, but you just have to get back up and try again. And don't forget, there are seasons in my life, and there's going to be seasons in your life where you just can't see the progress until later, until you've developed wisdom, until you've seen it. But as long as you keep striving for success and greatness and progress, not perfection, you're going to get there. And if you got God by your side, you will 110% get there. But you have to get rid of this sin. You have to get rid of these evil ways. You have to get rid of these vices. You have to live in virtue. Um, Vice, like I've said before, vice is easy, and it feels good in the moment, but it's easy, it's shallow, it's worthless. And virtue is difficult, and it's deep, and it's meaningful, and it feels just phenomenal when you begin that journey of virtue. And I struggle again often with it. Like I enjoy hanging out with people and partying too, but I had to eliminate that out of my life because I knew that it was just going to bring vice into my life and cause problems. So I'm trying to surround myself with different people, putting time in at my church, spending, surrounding myself with the type of person that I want to become. Because it's easy to have the people around you that are fun, but they don't have the virtue, they have the vice. So don't forget to look back and see where God is working with you this whole time and what he's trying to prepare you for and the people around you that you need to work for, right? Sometimes the, evidence of growth is only seen in the rearview mirror. And that's where you got to look. So take the time, stop for a minute and look back on your past and see where you've succeeded. We know you've failed. I know you've failed. I know I've failed. But you got to take credit for the success too. Half the hardest part about it is actually tracking what you are doing, taking the time to journal it and look back on it, knowing where you're making mistakes, knowing where you're screwing up, knowing where your vices really lie and how you can change that. And I'm really excited to talk about this next thing that I've been working on. I've been working on a habit tracker. So it's an undivided habit tracker, or undivided HT, I like to call it. And it's currently almost there. I've actually got it set up to a point where it's in beta testing. I'm reaching out to some people, because one reason people struggle is because they don't see the progress and they don't track what they're doing. And I want to make it easy for you. So that's what this habit tracker is. It creates awareness of your behaviors. It helps keep track of your momentum. It creates accountability amongst the other people using it. And it shows your consistency on a daily basis by tracking exactly how you are taking on life. It's designed to gradually reinforce new habits to replace your existing negative habits. And rather than just trying to stop a habit, Undivided HT helps identify the triggers of your habits, your routines, the environments that reinforce unwanted behaviors, and to build a personalized plan to support your lasting change in your future. The goal isn't perfection, the goal is awareness, and the goal is consistency and progress more than anything. Perfection can just jog on, if you ask me. I'm currently putting the app, like I said, through its paces. I've got a beta testing that I'm working on. And if you'd like to help me out, if you are a listener and you want to give me a hand and help me design or help me get this thing to be perfect, get it. It's not going to be perfect, but help me get it to a point where it really works well for people, testing it out for me, giving me feedback. Please reach out to me. I would love to be able to give you the web address to go and get this thing so you can work on yourself and help me work on getting the Undivided habit tracker right where it needs to be so it works really well for everybody. Help me work out the bugs. I'm trying to help you work out the bugs in your life. Try to help me work out some of the bugs in my app. That would be just the best. So visit my website at iamundivided.com and go to the contact page. I'll put the link directly into the description so that you can go there and contact me and let me know, give me a couple moments of your time, and I'd be happy to send that over to you so you can help me. Because keeping track of to make improvements, the small wins are more powerful than the big ones. Because the big wins happen once in a while, small wins happen every single day if you're working hard at it. So I would love to be able to get this thing out there as a mobile app. We're currently, like I say, beta testing it now. So the Undivided habit tracker is on its way, and it's going to be a part of, again, the whole system that I'm going to be developing. I can't wait for this thing to all unfold. This is just the beginning, guys, and I really appreciate you being here for me. It really, truly means the world to me. So I just want you guys to know that I love it, and I love you, and I love this thing. Um, and I'm never going to give up yet on it. So, or you, but I really think it's important to take a step back too and just kind of try to look out there in the world and see some of these people out there, some of the bigger names out there that have gone through hell to get where they are today, and realize that every single one of them has ran into a wall after wall of setbacks before they've really become who they've become. But they never gave up. They always strived for more. They always worked really hard. They found that inner beast, and they controlled that inner beast and tamed them to a point where they could just let it out and they go for it. Whether it's Sylvester Stallone.
Let me tell you something you already know. The world ain't all sunshine and rainbows. It's a very mean and nasty place, and I don't care how tough you are, it will beat you to your knees and keep you there permanently if you let it. You, me, or nobody is gonna hit as hard as life. But it ain't about how hard you hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. How much you can take and keep moving forward.
Whether it's Arnold Schwarzenegger.
You got to have a purpose no matter what you do in life. You got to have a purpose. So I couldn't wait to do another 500-pound squat. I couldn't wait to do another 500-pound bench press. I couldn't wait to do another 2,000 reps of sit-ups. I couldn't wait for the next exercise.
Whether it's Michael Jordan.
I've missed more than 9,000 shots in my career. I've lost almost 300 games. 26 times I've been trusted to take the game-winning shot and missed. I've failed over and over and over again in my life, and that is why I succeed.
Any of these guys, the story is almost never about the success, but it's just what we notice. It's almost always about their failures, because you'll learn throughout some of these clips and some of these things that these guys, they failed far more times than they succeeded, but because of their failures, they learned how to succeed. And it's not about, the failure so much as what you do next after that failure. You dust yourself off, get back up, and jump right back into it, or do you let it consume you and you fall back down into that hole again? And if you do fall back down into that hole, it doesn't mean it's over. You just got to keep on ripping, So, I just want those fellas to kind of show you some of the greatness that they've come from, and just a couple small clips there for those dudes, because they are influential. I grew up watching some of these. I mean, Michael Jordan, get out of here. Just one of the baddest of all time. I think he's the GOAT. You tell me what you think. Michael Jordan, the GOAT? I think Michael Jordan's the GOAT. But Arnold Schwarzenegger, he says there's 24 hours in a day. You only need to sleep 6. I'm sure that some of you guys want more than 6 hours of sleep, but that's what I average on a regular basis. But through all this growth, through all this adventure, you got to lean back into faith. Faith is what keeps you grounded. Faith is what keeps you sane. Faith is the never changing, always there. God is always there and never changing. And if you don't have the significant other, the woman in your life that keeps you grounded, then you need God without a question. And finding that right person, God will help you, and God will guide you to that right person if you're looking for that. If you're just trying to find the next fun thing to do, you're going to be miserable and lonesome. But keeping God in your life, it's about God's timing. So many times I was like, where are you? What are you doing to me? I mean, even, he doesn't care about my timing, right? God doesn't care about my plans. He cares about the plan that he's developed for you. And if you decide to lean into faith and follow the guidance and do what's right, he knows what's good for you at all times. Like we're planning on moving out west. We're planning to move to Montana. a big part of the adventure side of this thing. But I wanted to move to Montana before I even thought about doing this podcast. I wanted to go out there and I want to find a small piece of property and build a home with my bare hands, and let my children's children talk about how Grandpa built this house with his bare hands. But then all of a sudden, I was having the sciatic nerve pain and had to have surgery on my back, and it slowed everything down. And I was so pissed off right away because of it. I was so pissed off because I was like, no, we want to get there in this time frame, and we want to get there. But then what it's done for me, because I was just going to move out west and didn't really have much of a plan to it, right? But because I got to sit down and take a moment, like the 12 weeks of recovery, it allowed me to do this. It allowed me to see the bigger picture. And I feel like the surgery and the back problems were a gift more than they were a detriment at this point, because it gave me the time to develop this system. It gave me a time to start this podcast and be there for you guys, and do better for the world. I was wanting to move out west because of selfish reasons. And that was before I even, like I said, before this back surgery, before even thinking about doing a podcast. And because of the back surgery, I created this podcast, and now moving out west makes more sense than ever, because I want there to be an adventure side to it. I want there to be in-person group therapies and in-person adventures that you guys can come out and be a part of. It's coming. I'm going to be doing it. There's no question. And if I wouldn't have been able to take this time while I was recovering, the question really is would I be here? Would I be doing this? And the answer is no, absolutely no. And I had to wait for God's timing for that, because there's seasons in life. There's seasons to everything. There's agricultural seasons. There's literal seasons, whether it's winter, fall, spring, summer, however you want to look at it, north, south, east, west. There's seasons to life. And King Solomon wrote that life moves in distinct phases. There's time to plant, time to tear down, time to weep, and time to laugh. And if you try to do those out of order, it's going to be a struggle. And you have to develop the patience for your own progress. You have to develop the patience in life to wait for the timing to occur. Because if you take an hour out of each day on whatever it is that you love, and you take the time to develop the thing that you love, you have to give that time. In a year, it'd be 365 hours if you take an hour a day. And you must dedicate that time to whatever it is that you love to do. You're not going to be profound at something. I mean, there's savants. There's an exception to every rule, guys. But you're not going to be profound at something that you don't know yet. You have to take the time. You have to have the patience. This is the beginning. I'm going to get better and better at whatever this is. I'm going to get better and better at my message, and better at conveying it to you and getting it out there, and availability and all of it. I'm 41 years old and I'm doing something brand new, and I am not very good at it yet, but I'm working on it. You have to create this. You have to take the time, and you have to trust in God. I opened up my Bible today into Psalms. I like to go into Psalms and just go and then open it and then look at the first one that I see. And today was Psalm 88, and it really kind of caught me off guard because I haven't read everything yet. I mean, and even if I have, sometimes I forget, right? There's a lot to this book. But I want to read Psalm 88 to you and kind of give you my outlook on it, right? So Psalm 88 goes something like this. Lord, you are the God who saves me. Day and night I cry out to you. May my prayer come before you. Turn your ear to my cry. I am overwhelmed with troubles, and my life draws near to death. I am counted among those who go down to the pit. I am like one without strength. I am set apart with the dead, like the slain who lie in the grave, whom you remember no more, who are cut off from your care. You have put me in the lowest pit, in the darkest depths. Your wrath lies heavily on me. You have overwhelmed me with all your waves. You have taken from me my closest friends. You have made me repulsive to them. I am confined and cannot escape. My eyes are dim with grief. I call to you, Lord, every day. I spread out my hands to you. Do you show your wonders to the dead? Do their spirits rise up and praise you? Is your love declared in the grave, your faithfulness in destruction? Are your wonders known in the place of darkness, or your righteous deeds in the land of oblivion? But I cry to you for help, Lord. In the morning my prayer comes before you. Why, Lord, do you reject me and hide your face from me? From my youth I have suffered and have been close to death. I have borne your terrors and I am in despair. Your wrath has swept over me. Your terrors have destroyed me. All day long they surround me like a flood. They have completely engulfed me. You have taken from me friend and neighbor. Darkness is my closest friend. And it's easy in life to feel hopeless, right? It's easy in life to lie down and feel as though that nobody's listening or God isn't there for you. But no situation is hopeless to those who call out to God. And when you read something like that, it's like, man, so I'm not the only one, right? Like, it's right here. This was written by a human being, whether you like to believe it or not. And sometimes you feel like God has abandoned you and your problems, and you feel like you're all alone. And in those times, the harder you pray and the harder you work towards virtue, the sooner the blessing comes on the other end. And I've had moments in my life where darkness was my friend and I felt all alone. I mean, it happens sometimes even now. You know, you have these people in life that you love, that you wish you had more time with, and that they'd come and spend time with you, but everybody's so busy because they have lost sight of what's truly important, because we've been scrambled. Our brains have been scrambled with needing to have all these amazing things all the time. And that's not exactly where it's at, right? So don't give up. We get to choose if we fall to sin. We get to choose if we, fall to the vices or we lean to the virtue, because these tests are placed in front of us every day. And if you decide to go with the vice and instead of virtue, then darkness will be your closest friend. You will be angry at God if you believe. You'll feel as though that life has failed you and God has failed you, when that is not the truth. You get to fail yourself if you want to, and that's your choice. But praise God, and I pray for you all that are struggling with that and struggling with your journey to the Lord. I will pray for you every single day. I do. And it matters. It makes a difference. So there you go. Psalm 88, tough one to read, but it just goes to show you that, you're not the only one who struggled with that kind of a thing. But celebrating your wins, man, and celebrating the hardships that you've gone through, that you've accomplished, even when it feels sometimes there's nothing left. You have to celebrate your wins, but don't celebrate too long, right? Like I said, some of these people out there that you watch that win the championship or they win the Super Bowl, they win and then they celebrate for a minute, but then they're back at it trying to get after it again and go for the next one. So take some time to reflect on your life, right? Take a moment. I've got a couple questions, as I usually do, that you can ask yourself, right? Take some time to reflect. What have I overcome in the last week, in the last month, 6 months, year? What have I overcome? What have I overcome? What habits have you improved on? What have you smoked less weed? Have you drank less alcohol? Because if you have, that's a win, right? It doesn't all have to happen at once. Sometimes it does. Sometimes a guy's got to quit cold turkey, but it's a journey, right? So what were you doing today that you didn't see yourself doing 6 months ago? That's a big one, right? Like, are you spending more time with your kids than you did before because you're not leaving, taking as much time going to get that drink in your hand? Where has God been present in your life? Or where do you want him to be present in your life? That's a good question too. It's either side of that, that question. Where has he been present in your life, and where would you like him to be present in your life? Because if you pray on it, pray for him to be present in your life through some of these struggles, he will be there. He'll be there for you. You need to challenge yourself, guys. You gotta challenge yourself every week, and you gotta challenge yourself to becoming a better individual. Do something new this week, whatever it may be. Go help somebody. Go volunteer, whether it's a family member that you go help, or if it's a stranger that you go help. Somebody that's in need, going through surgery, make them some food. Go clean their house for them. Do something outside of you. If you've been going through all of these episodes with me, we've been focusing a lot on ourselves because we have to look inward. But one thing that I maybe haven't really hit on enough, and maybe I have, is that you need to go outside of you to really get there, right? You got to get out and go do for others, because that's where the satisfaction and that really comes in. That's where that, if you go and you do for others and you're really doing it, to help and not just to look good, that's where karma comes in, right? You go out and you help all these people, and it might feel like, oh, geez, I'm doing all this work for others and nothing's happening it'll come, man. Like, those blessings are right around the corner for you. You got to focus outward now and try to give that energy to the world around you to make a better world around you. Like I say, volunteer, go out, pick up trash with, by yourself or with friends, do chores for an elderly neighbor, ask somebody if you can pray for them. If you see somebody that is hurting, or, like, we have intuition, and you can just see it in somebody sometimes, the way that they're carrying themselves. We're better at it than you think. You can pray for them. Take a moment, even if you're not good at it. It's something that I've been trying to work on and getting better at doing. So stop doing the same thing. If you want to make your life better, stop it. Go do something new. Get out and change the world for the better, right? Change the world for the better. The path to a better life is almost never what you expected. It's that adventure. It's off the beaten path. It's that climb up that new mountain. And when you go out and do the unexpected for the greater good, and you celebrate your victories, sometimes it can be messy. It's certainly uncertain, right? And it's always and almost always off the beaten path from what you usually do. Take a new route to work. Wash your feet first instead of your head, in the shower. I mean, I know that's backwards, wash it down, right? But, we've got modern day showers. You can just rinse off all you want to. But it's off the beaten path. And oftentimes that's where God does his work, is off the beaten path. So just keep moving, keep trusting in everybody, keep building your life forward, and your adventure is never over. Don't ever keep a singular destination. Always have goals set out in front of you. And you know, if this episode has helped you, smash that like button, smash that subscribe button, and please share this with somebody that you know, somebody that you love. Let me know how I'm doing. Get out there, and I want to talk about it. I want to know what you want. I want to know what you want to talk about, and I'm willing to get out there and do it. Show me that you care, and I'm going to keep being here either way. But, and if you want to be a beta tester for the new app, please reach out. Go to my contact page. Like I said, I'm going to put that in the description here. Visit undivided.com. I am undivided.com, and go to the contact me page and send me a message. As always, I love being here with you guys. I'll be back next week and every week thereafter for the rest of forever. I'm your host, Adam Maxwell with Undivided. I love you guys, and I just can't wait till next week. I can't wait for everything to come in the future. Peace out.
Yeah. From nothing to more, from broke to blessed. I wore the loss, then I wore success. Built from dust, and I'm not done. Yeah. Came from nothing, bare hands, old scars, new plans. I tasted the dirt, then I stood back up. When the world went cold, I still showed up. Lost in the smoke for a minute too long, but I kept that faith when the nights felt wrong. Never gave in, I bet I learned. Every hard fall, I took my turn. I broke, yeah, I bled. Still heard that promise in my head. One more step, one more mile. I found my fire in a child's smile. Built from dust, built from pain, built from dust. I rose again. Hold me close, keep God near. I'm still here, I'm still here. Built from dust, built to lead. Built from dust, built to need my dreams. Living the work I do. I made this life come true. Trudge back to the top, slow climb. No handouts, just sweat and time. Then I crashed back down, saw the floor. Took that wreck and built one more. With my queen by my side, I rebuilt the frame. Two strong hearts, one last name. Devoted dad with the chefs. Full plate carpenter hands, I create my fate. Yeah, I know what it costs to turn a wound into a cross. One deep breath, one brave grin. I let the hard road shape me. Yeah, and built from dust, built from pain, built from dust. I rose again. Hold me close, keep God near. I'm still here, I'm still here. Built from dust, built to lead. Built from dust, built on need. My dreams, living the work I do. I made this life come true. I was the boy they counted out. Now I'm the man they point at now. Mentor voice, steady and true. Show me your fear, I'll walk with you. If I fall, I rise with grace. If I stray, I find my